Hey boss, do you know how it is that we learn? There are three ways: hearing, seeing, and doing. Let's take a look at each of those three ways, get some quick tips, and see what percent should we be spending our time in each of those. Here we go. First up, hearing. We learn 10% of our information through hearing, just 10%. But a lot of times, this is where we spend all our effort and our energy of focusing on. So, what does hearing look like? What does it sound like? Hearing is when we're consuming books, when we are just reading topic after topic, when we're watching the videos that align with the books. So, how do we make the most use of this 10% of learning that we do? Well, we're intentional with what we do. We're intentional with what we're hearing, with what we're reading, with what we're watching. And so when we're intentional, what that looks like is curating your content like a artist would curate art coming into a studio. You're going to curate the things that are focused on what you want to focus on and where you want to grow. Instead of just wildly grabbing everything that you can, pick an area, pick one topic and say, this is what I really want to learn on. Most recently, mine has been storytelling. This is where I've chosen to focus, and I try to consume all the stuff through that is centered around this topic, around story. And so that's the first thing you're going to do. When you're hearing, you're going to be more intentional about what you are hearing, what you're taking in, to make use of that 10% of the way that you learn. And then seeing. Seeing is only 20% of the way that we learn. What seeing is, that is when we are observing real time people doing something. So the way that we really focus on being intentional with the 20% of seeing is we try to take the same concept we did from hearing and we curate what it is we're seeing. Who are we reaching out to that we find the best of what they do, the top of their field? Okay, so let's take an example. You want to be better at writing emails. What would you do with seeing? What would that look like? So you're going to spend 20% of your time looking at emails that you feel someone writes really good emails, that you feel they're a really good communicator through email. You can take in different examples, other stuff that you can find online. So tying your hearing part into your seeing part. And then you can spend some intentional time breaking down what it is about that email that you really like. What drives you to it? What draws you to that? So that's how we're going to make the best use of seeing something play out. And then finally, the last is actually doing. This is where 70% of our effort needs to be focused, but where we rarely spend any time actually focused on it. We try to hear and we try to see, and we think we need to become the expert before we actually go into this. But in order to actually learn something, to truly learn it, we have to spend 70% of our time doing that. And this is where a lot of us get stuck. And so this is where I challenge you. If there's something that you feel like you are trying to get better at, that you're trying to become a master of, that you're really trying to grow in, you need to spend 10% of your time hearing, where I'm guessing that you're spending about 90% of your time. And then you need to spend 20% of your time seeing someone actually do that out. And then you need to go spend 70% of your time doing. If you don't have a real life application part that you can do something right now, then a great way to practice this is to get someone that you trust to go through role playing with you. And what this looks like is telling that person, hey, here's what I'm wanting to work on. Can you go through a couple scenarios with me? Let me play this part, you play that part, and we will talk through the scenarios, get some feedback and practice it. Because the more reps you put in, it's like exercise. The more reps you put in, the more muscle memory you're going to have when you actually get into that scenario. And so that's part of the 70% doing. So spend 10% of your time hearing, 20% of your time seeing, and then 70% of your time doing. This is where you need to just get out there, you need to move, and you need to just do. And so let's get out there. Let's pick that one topic that we want to intentionally grow on and focus on that, hearing, seeing, doing, and go tweak yourself.